There's something strange happening in the world, and most people still don't see it. I'm not talking about a virus. I'm not talking about hospitals or people collapsing in the streets. I'm talking about something far more silent, because the next pandemic won't attack the human body first. It will attack the mind, and when you understand how it works, you'll realize it already started a long time ago.
Humanity has always believed that the worst threats arrive loudly. Wars, explosions, economic collapse, visible disasters. But the real catastrophes arrive in silence. They infiltrate slowly. They change habits. They alter thoughts. And when people finally react, it's already too late. That was the most terrifying part of past pandemics. It wasn't only the disease, it was the fear. It was watching millions of people slowly begin to distrust each other. How isolation slowly destroyed the human mind. How confinement altered emotions, dreams, mental stability, and even the perception of reality. And now, something similar is happening again. But this time, it's different. Because the new pandemic doesn't need to infect lungs. It needs to infect attention. Look around you. Anxiety has become normal. Depression grows in silence. People can no longer be alone with themselves for even 5 minutes. Everyone needs constant distraction, constant noise, constant stimulation, screens, short videos, instant opinions, cheap dopamine. Humanity has never been so entertained, and at the same time so empty. And that's where the real virus lives. A mind incapable of tolerating silence is a mind that is extremely easy to control. That's why more and more people feel something strange inside themselves. Exhaustion without reason, emotional emptiness, disconnection, lack of purpose, the feeling of living on autopilot, as if something invisible were slowly draining their life energy. And the most dangerous part is that they've already gotten used to it. People believe mentally exhausting themselves every day is normal. They believe living distracted is normal. They believe losing focus is normal, but it isn't. A civilization that loses the ability to think deeply ends up obeying anything, and that has already happened before in history. Societies don't collapse only because of hunger or war. They collapse when human beings lose mental clarity, because a confused man is a manipulable man. And the modern system understood something terrifying. It doesn't need to forbid you from thinking. It only needs to keep you distracted long enough so that you never do. That's why this new pandemic is so dangerous. Because you can't see it. It has no immediate physical symptoms. It doesn't trigger alarms. It doesn't shut down cities. It simply consumes the human mind slowly from the inside, until people forget who they really were. And this is where the most uncomfortable question of all appears. What happens to someone who wakes up in the middle of this chaos? What happens to the person who begins to notice the emptiness of the system? They suffer, because seeing too much also hurts. You begin to feel different. Superficial conversations bore you. Social media starts exhausting you. Excessive entertainment loses its flavor. And then something strange happens. You are left alone with your own mind. That is the moment most people desperately avoid. Because silence reveals things. It reveals insecurities, fears, inner emptiness, questions you've spent years ignoring. That's why so many people constantly run toward noise. Because noise numbs. But the problem is that a numbed person also stops truly living and slowly becomes emotionally asleep. That is the real danger of this era. Not that the human body weakens, but that the human soul becomes incapable of feeling depth, incapable of resisting pain, incapable of enduring loneliness, incapable of building character. Because everything became immediate, everything fast, everything instant, everything superficial. And when a human being lives too long in artificial comfort, they lose inner strength. That's why the most dangerous people of the future won't be the physically strongest. They will be the ones capable of preserving mental clarity in the middle of chaos. The ones who learn to think while everyone else reacts. The ones who can endure silence while others need distraction. The ones who maintain identity while the rest follow trends. Because in times of confusion, thinking for yourself becomes an act of rebellion. And maybe that's what's happening to you right now. Maybe that's why you feel different. Maybe that's why this message hits you so deeply. Maybe because a part of you already understood something. The world is not only going through a sanitary, economic, or social crisis. It is going through a spiritual crisis. People no longer know who they are. They don't know what they want. They don't know what to believe in. And when a civilization loses meaning, it slowly begins to destroy itself from within. That's why the next great pandemic will be mental. Invisible, silent, slow, and millions will fall without even realizing it. Not because they are physically sick, but because they forgot how to live consciously. So listen carefully to this. Protect your mind as if it were sacred territory. Because in an era where everyone competes to control your attention, the ability to think clearly becomes power. And perhaps the true survivor of the future won't be the richest, nor the strongest, but the last human being capable of remaining awake, while the rest of the world lives asleep.